Hack the Planet 5 of 8, which next month will become 13 anyway, so I don't even know why I bother, but there's a loose structure happening. When last we saw our quote-unquote heroes, they were ambushing a convoy, and it was going semi-well. It wasn't like a shitstorm or anything, but not everything went perfectly. The Steve got nailed with a bullet, took cover with 2 people advancing. A rocket went into a cliff. Cross got electrified. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's all fine. Oh yeah, and another thing that I wanted to bring up too is I want to try doing polling the table from like our PBTA games where we get everybody on the same fictional page and then we move forward with it just so everybody knows what everyone's planning, because especially in a game like Blades, you presumably should have that information anyway, right? Like you would have talked to each other before and been like, hey, this is the plan, this is what I'm doing. So that way we can avoid any overlapping things, and people who want to do the same action can put it out there and then negotiate that fictional space. Was there any other things that people wanted to be cognizant of? That's maybe look at your XP triggers, keep those in your head. So especially your specific ones, like violence and intimidation and stealth or precision, all that kind of stuff. Keep that in mind. And then, like I was saying, on these sheets, I haven't, it looks like I haven't updated them just yet, but instead of expressing your beliefs drives heritage or background, it's going to be beliefs drives culture or background, and you should feel like you have carte blanche to express that however you like. And expressing that will give you XP. And then, does anyone have trauma? The Steve has trauma, right? So, what is your trauma, Steve? The Steve.
I'm unstable.
Oh, well, that should be hard to play at, huh?
Yeah, as almost as hard as Mayhem.
Yeah, almost. And did you guys have any crew advances to spend yet or anything? Are we caught up on that front?
We have one, but I don't think anybody really talked about it.
Okay, because you might want to take something to help you out in this situation, perhaps. I'm going to allow that.
If we need to, we could keep in the back of our mind underground haven. If we need to have a place we need to escape to or something out here or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that could definitely be fictional justification when the mission's complete, right? Because you're taking Cade to this hidden village, so
yeah,
that could be a cool thing. It's nice when Blades ends up like that, right? Like you look at a move and then it slots so nicely into the fiction that's happening. It's cool. So yeah, you could keep that in mind, or if people want to level up their quality and gear or anything, but you do have a sort of nebulous, better quality gear to use against these people that you negotiated previously with the job, which was putting you on even keel with a tier 2 gang. And we didn't really codify that because whatever, it's just the kind of stuff that you would need to do this thing is what you have. Like level 2, I don't know, bazookas that slam into cliffs, right? Or tier 2, not level 2. So
I was going to suggest as a possible crew advancement, since we're strong tier 0 and we're getting close to the next tier, maybe patron, and that could be these people that we're rescuing, because although we're getting some rep, we're not exactly getting a lot of coin. Not that I don't know why we're not getting a lot of coin, but you know, along those lines.
Not that I know why. JJ ruined our lives.
I would love to be sponsored by Tea Masters. That's excellent.
Yes. Yeah, because it is Silk Falls, right? No, not Silk Falls. Cresting Grace. My names are just too good. It's hard to keep them straight, you know? So, should we get on the fictional page then? What is everybody wanting to do from here? How about we go... Steve, are you about to say something?
Yeah, I've got something.
Sure.
So, yeah, I assume like those two are like advancing, spreading out and peppering the car with bullets, and we see from behind the car, as I'm trying to duck behind it and scramble into the door, like hugging the seat tight, right, and like trying to get my, without like exposing myself, get my head behind the seat, underneath the seat. And what we see is that the bottom of the car is laid bare. And I'm thinking these are not like, these are electric vehicles. So in the middle, underneath of it is like the huge power cell battery type thing. And the bottom of the car is already exposed. Like, I've been working on this. So like I don't really want a flashback that we see it, but it's kind of a flashback that the battery's already hooked up. And my goal is, okay, they're advancing on me. When they come here, they'll realize the car is rigged, and I'm going to blow them up, and I will make sure that this side is not like, I need to block the exit, right? I don't want anybody to get through, that kind of thing. And that's my goal here. I'm going to use Rec for that. And then we can discuss in a moment what this is going to cost me in terms of flashback stress and stuff.
Well, I think it's pretty plausible. And I think that it would totally be a part of the plan that this would happen, right? Like, I think you would assume that they're going to attack the lead vehicle that is blocking them and have a plan for, if they start doing exactly what they're doing. So I think you don't need to take stress for it. I think it's pretty plausible. Is anybody else who is aware of this helping Steve in any way?
Well, so I am a little unclear of like how the like setup of the blockade is. I know I was in like the second car back, and so like I am like moving forward. So I think like my plan. So then it sounds like though the Steve is like in the car that is like the blockade. Is that the way that it's set up?
Okay. That was like broken down, right?
Okay, so these first two who had been inspecting the situation are the ones that are now advancing on the Steve.
Yeah.
Is that
and
okay?
You had advanced right up to the front car and saw them,
right?
So you're like, I imagine you crouched right beside the lead car in that convoy, and the one behind you slashed the tires of.
Right. So I think like my goal is, it feels like my initial goal and kind of like what I was like put in here to do was essentially like solidify the blockade by like turning their vehicles into the blockade. I think the question is like, would the threat be big enough that I would be going after these two that are going after the Steve, or do I feel like confident enough that he can handle it? I think is the thing that I'm trying to.
Everyone has communications, so
okay.
I think.
So yeah.
You
need help. You know what my positioning is, so I am certainly like capable of like just extending and coming at them from behind, essentially.
Yeah. What you know is that the entire plan was to blow up the front vehicle to box them in. So if they are advancing on me, things are going according to plan.
Right.
In a certain, right? Like they could be looking better, but it's not a thing. And on player level, it's like, I'm fine. I've got enough stress to resist maybe focus
Okay,
on
so
focus on something else if you want.
So yeah, I think then that I am just kind of I'm going to try and take out this first car, like make it immobile to like essentially like strengthen this blockade, and then I'm going to go back to the second car and kind of like give them the report of what's going on, even if it's vague, inaccurate details, that kind of thing, and maybe just kill them all.
Yeah, you're still not discovered, right?
Yeah, you're not discovered.
Great thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then what is Gabrash up to? And where is Gabrash? Oh, Turska. Oh, poor Darren. Google Hangouts hates him. And then Cross, you're up on the ridge.
Yeah, so I'm up on the ridge. Imagine hopefully somebody's going to call down the storm because the balloons are out and the cables are attached and it'll electrify some cars. But I don't really have necessarily enough stress to do that unless I want to stress out to do it, which I could. But I think taking a play from Fraser's playbook of doing something dramatic. I'm not going to halo jump. I just imagine that we have like climbing ropes like up high on the cliffs, and it's going to be totally a Tarzan swing to like come in and just like swing in and then get into hand-to-hand combat with people like from behind where they're not expecting somebody to jump down from the cliff type thing.
Okay, so you're like on the communications being like it's ready to hit or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Okay. / somebody else on a player level that needs to take 3 stress to do this. Sweet. Okay. And Gabrash, don't go away now.
Yeah, well, we'll see. To talk carefully. So I was planning on doing something with the active god, but maybe my plan is whatever Cross is planning. Because I was thinking before of like doing something to like make it like wrap around us and like go behind them, but just to give us better positioning somehow.
Like make the storm not hit you all, but just the convoy, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like because if it's coming like through us, then I want to like basically poke a hole in it, so it just goes around us.
Cool, yeah. I bet there's specialized tech for that, right? Where like you would throw it on the ground and it would generate a field or something, and then it would like just like act like a shield, basically, probably, right? So, so you want to deploy something like that, and then do the crosses thing of activating your guys' crew's special move.
That just destroys it completely, right?
That well, it would get rid of the storm, but it also, in so doing, would hit the convoy and like be really bad for them. So Cross's plan is to use military grade. You've devised a method to destroy the active god. Take 3 steps to use the tech, but the idea is that when you use the stress to kill it, there's like all that, the balloons and the tethering on their vehicles and stuff, so that it would kill it, and then all of the energy would be directed into the convoy, I guess, right? And like kill it, blow it up or something, right? It would be bad for them for sure.
Well, I'll just link into that plan, and yeah, I would be more than happy to activate that and blow up a convoy.
I don't hear light static. Does anybody else?
I don't know. I have an AC unit on, so there's always something for me.
I just hear the fans from my computer.
Yeah, I don't hear any static. Yeah. Cool. So you're going to do that plan with Cross, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be honored.
So is this a group action?
Well,
are you both doing a specific thing to get it done, or?
Maybe. I mean, I think I've sort of set up the thing that needs to get done. Unless there's something else that needs to be done to call on the active god, the military grade. So like maybe I have to swing in and plant something or do something.
Well, I would say that you did a setup action, but you failed the setup action.
I failed the setup action.
Yeah. So fictionally, we could say that it's set up because you resisted it not
Right.
being able to work. But mechanically, you wouldn't get the +1 position or +1 effect from it.
No, I understand what you mean there.
Yeah. So
I'm fine rolling off like acting as that was a setup and rolling off of that, because with the 3 stress, I'm activating it is gonna like fill my stress bar. So I think that follows very well.
Okay, because I was thinking in a group action, I was toying with allowing people to take that stress as a crew if they're doing the same action, so that you could disperse the stress. Since it takes 3 stress, you could just say like, "This is what we're doing," and then
I
put
get
the
you.
stress wherever you like.
I can totally help out so that we disperse the stress a little bit to keep us both in the game.
Not knock us out right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay. So yeah, it's not a thing that you have to roll on. You have, well, technically it needs to be an obstacle that you're overcoming. So
maybe it's just closer. It's like right on top of us instead of like about to come in. So maybe there's already effects of it happening.
Yeah, and in this particular case, I like the ingenuity of what Yoshi's doing. Like, instead of overcoming it as an obstacle, you're just using it to kill somebody else with this specialized way of doing it. So we'll just keep that in mind, I think. And so yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so as per the move, you just take stress and you do this thing, right? So give me the fiction, and then I think we'll use a fortune roll to adjudicate what kind of damage this does to the convoy. Also, is this hitting like all of the? Yeah, like let me know what the fiction looks like, basically. Yeah. We'll say it happens, and then you guys can tell me what it looks like. And is it? I want to know, like, is it hitting like every vehicle and stuff like that, or what?
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, I shot two like bolts, crossbow bolts with tethers into cars, and like let the balloons up. So I think it's sort of like after those bullets are up, and I'm climbing into the tree to like make sure that the tether is clear, and then get shocked by lightning. Like I kind of like sort of like half sit up, or not even sit up, just lying on my back after I'm lying on the ground from getting like knocked off, and I just like do like the press to my ear. I'm like, Caprice. Caprice, it's good. You should be able to do the thing. Do the thing.
Yeah, I think Caprice is like fumbling a little bit because it all happens a lot faster than they realize. But what does it look like? I think I imagine it like a huge lightning pole kind of that expands and then maybe into like some sort of like satellite thingy, but then I don't know, it does like some future techie stuff and and like zaps into the storm and just makes a discharge onto the balloons and everything like that, disperses like onto them.
Cool. What would be more fun? Should we do a fortune roll, or should we roll like a rec roll? That would be kind of fun. We could also roll it just by tier or something. Matthias, how would you do it?
I mean, you could use the rec as the fortune roll base, right?
But it's a crew thing, right? So it could be rolling the just like, I picture. Ooh, how about this? So you have acquired tier 2 goods to do this job. So maybe we roll your tier as the fortune roll. We take the highest to see what it is.
Yeah.
As opposed to rolling your previous tier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise this would be a crew thing. but it wouldn't be as effective because you'd be rolling tier 0, so lowest die. So I think that's fair, hey? Does that sound right to everybody?
Cool. That works for me.
You could still handle it for the player who's rolling it or doing it, or will be implicated in its consequences directly.
Yeah, but this is meant to be a thing that just happens after you've already circumvented it as an obstacle, which hasn't quite happened, but I like the fictional positioning that's already been set up to just let it happen. So yeah, we'll just say that it's let's just move to see what the effects of it is. So Gabrish or Cross, which one of you wants to roll the tier? You should be able to just do it on your crew, but then when it adds bonus die, you'd have to add 2 because you're at tier 0 at the moment.
Great, I'll let you do it, but I'm going to take 1 stress out of the 3.
Cool.
So you're taking 2 stress, Gabrish.
Yeah, that's fine. And I can click tier. Wow, you can just click anything on this page.
Yeah, so you click tier and then hopefully it asks for bonus dice. Yeah, okay, sweet. So cool.
Not cool.
Wow, it's not the worst. Oh, let me get my proper sheet up here. Here we go. Okay, cool. So let's look at
So do you get the trauma when you fill your stress or when you get another stress after it's full?
when you hit 9, you're traumatized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think it's 9, right? Yeah, the last tick. Whatever. Yeah. So how far away are you? You're just 1 away?
Yeah, just 1 away.
Guess you just need to help somebody sometime. Cool. So mixed outcome. Let's say, so you imagine it on the last 2 vehicles is where you harpooned? Or which ones do you think you harpooned?
Yeah, I feel like it was the last 2. Like if we're looking,
so they can't leave, right?
Exactly.
You've got
It's the back half of the boxing them in.
Right. And I believe I said there was 4 vehicles, right? So I bet they're pretty much all disabled now after this, which is nice. So cool. With the mixed result, I'm gonna say that. Let's see. Do I have a clock? What I'm gonna do is click the rock 2. Boom. Easy enough. And so what we see is like, do you guys think it like explodes, or have you rigged it to like, what kind of damage have you rigged it to do? To just disable the cars, or is it like boom, like they just go up?
I mean, I guess we put a lot of electricity through them. They
So
might
they blow up?
up.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So I think what happens is like the 2 cars blow up, and it's like a Michael Bay explosion, right? Of course, it's Michael Bay because it's we. And I think what we see in the fiction for why the rocks move up is maybe one of them actually like blows up and hits the cliff face, and we hear like the rumble even more, right? And then I think it's totally that Back to the Future moment that after the lightning storm hits, only somehow like a minute or 2 later, the sky is like completely clear again, right? Like before, it was this buffeting force. The storm was literally halfway there to getting its like force up and hitting you all, and then suddenly it just is like completely focused into these vehicles and disperses. So I'll get rid of that clock. 2 cars are blown up. Boom. But you only have 1 quarter left for the rocks coming down, which would be bad for most people. Maybe not the people up on the ridge, but everybody else on the road, not so good. So should we move to, I think Yeji hasn't gone yet. I can't remember who acted in what order in the last one, but
I think this is happening at the same time.
yeah. Yeah, I just mean in terms of spotlight management. But yeah, because Yeji moved up, then you got shot, right? So Yeji, what are you doing?
So I think I'm seeing this go on, and I don't really want to go back to the second part.
Weird. So you don't want to just open the door and murder them or whatever?
I think I'm going into the first car, and I'm going to drive the first car.
Oh, because they left, right? Because they exited the vehicle?
Yeah, and I'm going to drive that into them.
Into the people advancing on the Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. From the Steve's perspective, do you want to interact with this action at all?
I mean, yes. Why don't we roll this into one thing and decide either one of us is assisting the other? And it can be me, because what I was thinking is what I'm doing is basically I'm penetrating the surface of the big battery that's underneath the car, or that's part of the car. And if you do that, you're probably going to create a fire, but there's also an enormous amount of dark gray fumes that are like very rapidly expanding out of the car suddenly. And you might just run them over coming through the darkness that's quickly engulfing them, right? I mean, they're suited up and stuff, so they don't like it's just
fine.
going to, yeah. And then their own cars running them over. So then my part is just an assist maybe in this thing while you try to take them out, because I don't think this is really like making the battery breaking it is probably, if I'm not going to want to make it explode, it's probably not a roll, right? Just messing it up.
Yeah.
And I'll pay one stress to give you an additional die. Yeah.
Cool. I feel like these people probably messed up. So what action do you think you're doing here, Yeji?
This is a good question. Handle a vehicle or mount would be finesse.
Yeah, well, do you think the action is being able to control the vehicle?
Yeah, because I think like I'm just like hitting the gas, and like I probably also want to like jump out at the right time and all of that kind of thing to make sure that like if this like veers into the trees, like I'm not like killing myself in the process. So like I'm probably like I feel like have the driver's door open and foot on the gas and like holding the wheel and like kind of like half hanging out and ready to like tuck and roll. And
Totally. Let's do it then. Cool. Take an extra die. I think it's a risky situation.
Yeah.
Standard effect. And the thing that I like about it as well is I think I can't be quite sure of this, but I'm pretty sure there's two people in the back of that still. So you'd be taking them out as well. Like you're basically sending them off the cliff, right?
So yeah, I feel like I very like calmly get into the vehicle.
Yeah, they're probably like, "What the fuck?"
And I'm just like, "Hey, I got sent in from the car in the back. We just need to move this. We need to get around this. Yeah, we need to get around this blockade as quickly as we can. Like this is not good. This is not good." And then
and then they just depending on what happens, they just like go over the cliff with them. It's pretty funny. Cool. So risky standard, and then are you gonna push yourself or anything like that? Or does anyone have a ripple instead?
I feel good with 3 dice.
3 is pretty good.
I mean,
I'm willing to push it, but I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, ripple could just be you go over the edge as well. Right? And this doesn't have to mean harm in a sense. If you roll a 6, then
Yeah.
you go over the edge, get like be awesome and roll somewhere. And but I don't know. This also, like, Fraser needs to say yes, because maybe it sounds cool to you that you can do something with that, right? If it's just a cheap ripple, then it's not really
a cheap ripple going off of the cliff. No, I like it because I mean, yeah, like just if you don't roll very well, just be aware that you're going off a cliff. Right? And then a good roll would probably be like a Mission Impossible thing, right? Where it goes off and then the camera pans over and we see you like, hang
with one hand. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like we need that moment. I'll take the extra time. Give me all ones now.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, this combat has been pretty boring, so I'm glad you're doing this. So. Sweet. Did you roll? Oh, I haven't. Nice, a 6, the first one too, ironically. Cool, so tell me what happens.
So yeah, like I hop in the car, like and probably those guys in the back are like a little suspicious. Maybe they look at each other, that type of thing. But like at this point, like I've just like gunned the gas and the car is going. And yeah, like it's veering. Like I think I don't have like great, like I'm kind of like, and as I pop the door and it like smacks into these guys, the guys in the back are just like screaming at this point, and probably raising their guns. And at that point, like that's when the car like just like breaks the edge of the cliff, and I like drop out, probably half a second too late to land on land, and then as I'm falling, just like pull out my blades and do the whole like. So I'm actually like on the side of the cliff. I think like it's one of these things where like the blades are in the ground and like. Down is like the car, the guy and the grip, the two guys in the back just tumbles down. And
Can I just mention one little detail that's super awesome about this? Like, I'm not adding anything, but if we're watching this, we're just seeing one of their people in the whole suit, and we maybe can infer this must be Yeji, but we don't actually see that it's ye old lady Yeji that's doing all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeji apparently is like kept up with her body, even though she's 6. She's basically like Jackie Chan right now, right? Like 6 years old and doing her own stunts. So
I like the idea that like as she like stops and has those blades, like she just like hacks up some of that like orange like cottage cheese like stuff, and it just like goes like falling down and maybe like hits the spot where the car hit or something like that.
Gross.
Oh, so now like in this thing you lose your helmet or
I don't have a helmet.
But they were described of wearing helmets, and right?
Oh no, that was the other one. I forgot the helmet. Sorry.
Yeah, you're dressed as them, right? You had to infiltrate it.
But my mouth is uncovered, I think.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. I need to be able to spit the orange goose. So
I mean, she's got the scarves. That's what she does, and she doesn't want to spit that up in the helmet, so she's got the visor up or whatever the case is.
Yeah. So this Steve, you see all this happen. I guess like maybe you hear like the sound of all this conflict, right? But then you hear like boom, boom, and then like all these freaking screams, right? Like as they go down the thing, and then it's suddenly really quiet.
A car rushes by me. I'm like, I'm like scrambling away from the car that I sabotaged because that's spewing toxic fumes everywhere. And I think this is a moment where I actually like I touch my comms piece, and I'm like, where we at? And I try to take stock of the situation because I can't tell with the scenery what's going on right now. Like from where I'm at, looks to be going all right. Finally, do I just need to watch out for my own survival right now, or what's happening? So maybe just to gather information.
Sure.
I feel like you hear Yeji say, "I was only able to slash the tires of the second car."
Yeah, and they're probably like, I mean, the tires are probably like trying to spin and shit right now, right? They're probably like, oh fuck no. Behind them there's like explosions, cliff face is rumbling, the top car kills some of the old people, goes off the cliff. The front sabotage car is like emitting all these gases, fumes and shit. They're probably like, oh hell no. This job sucks. So you're doing a survey or?
Yes, it's a survey.
Yeah.
I'm going to push myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I assume this is still some kind of risky situation. The rocks could fall. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We're on a timer for the rocks, so let's make it risky. Risky standard. We only have a quarter left of that clock. And I think,
let's see how this goes. I need to gather information.
Although the only people in the way of the rocks now are those people with slashed tires, right? Because Gabratia's up on the ridge with Cross now.
I'm still also in the danger zone.
Oh yeah, that's true. In the danger zone. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the best.
That's not the best.
Well, what's the question that you wanted to ask?
What should I look out for? Right, that's like the thing that's hitting me at this moment.
Yeah, so I think you are like maybe stumbling out, right? The gaseous fumes are going up. It looks like a war zone. All these things are happening at once. There's even like a little bit of a concussive force still, right, from the cars blowing up and striking the cliff face. And as you're like taking stock and looking around, I think you start seeing like the landslide basically begin, right? And it comes down and you're just in a risky situation, right? So I think it starts coming down and you think like we had that moment where it pushes your the car that was it going to blow up, or is it just emitting these fumes?
It's just emitting these fumes. And
okay, I think it like strikes the car and like sends it hurtling over the cliff, right? Like with a lot of force, and you get like that moment where you're like, oh, like you're touching yourself and you're like, oh, thank God, right? And then as you look up, a rock comes flying out, it hits you in the head, and you take 2 harm.
Yeah.
It's just a little rock. It's like a fist rock. It's fisting you in the head.
I think it hits me and knocks me down, right? We get this whoop, and I'm actually hit in the head by a rock. I'm just gonna take this.
Yeah, you already used your armor, right?
Yeah.
Getting shot.
Yeah.
Rough day for the Steve. But then I think we get like the kind of war shot of like the Steve's head bleeding and stuff, and you look up and the camera goes kind of point of view, like just behind your head, so we see your head as well in the blood. And then like you just hear the sound of in your ears of when like a hair is dying or the grenade goes off, right? It's just like white noise-ish stuff in the background that's growing louder. And then you see like the landslide go down and hit that the car that's like they're freaking out. They're like busting against bulletproof glass. None of them apparently are. I think at the last moment, the guy in the bottom, it would be the driver's side passenger door opens and the guy starts running, but then the landslide just overtakes them all and there's like this sickening crunching sound, and that too goes like over the forest, like the cliff, and you hear like I don't know, like 5 seconds of silence, so you know that it's like the longest fall ever kind of thing, and then like a sickening crunch again that was probably similar to the car crunching the guy who was trying to roll away. And you succeeded. That was fun. I like that encounter. Yeah, so what happens from here? What do you all do? And how hurt is Steve now?
I've got level 2 harm and level 1 harm, so I'm kind of dazed. Like, I wouldn't want to do much more stuff if I don't have to.
Yeah, well, I mean, you took care of the problem, that's for sure. More than it, right? Because initially, I believe it was just going to be like sabotaging the vehicles or whatever, right? Because the vehicles are more expensive than the men, but there's pretty much nothing on the road because the road is covered now. So, and a bonus,
there's like
won't be
dust
this way.
There's dust and storm everywhere and toxic fumes and like, yeah, I have like my environmental suit, but that's kind of damaged, and so I probably need to hold that together with one hand, right? And I've got blood running down my face, so I'm kind of stumbling through this wreckage, looking for anybody of my crew if I find anyone.
It would be funny if Steve found Yeji dangling from the thing, right? Like stumbling around, and you look off the cliff face because maybe, natural curiosity of seeing what happened to the vehicle, and it's all like, crunched and blown up or whatever, the rocks. But that is, you take like a further look, you see Yeji dangling there.
Yeah, and then I like scramble onto my knees, and like the face mask like kind of gapes half open, but to reach down and to give her a hand to pull her up onto the cliffside again.
Nice. What is Cross and Gabrish doing as all of that unfolds?
I mean, I think I'm getting up from being struck by lightning and
Yeah.
sort of like shaking the stars out of my vision.
Yeah, you have all your hairs are like still up and shit.
Gabrish, I think, is like leaned against like the wheel of our transport or whatever. And I think Gabrish just looks towards Cross, and she's like, they're like very shaken. They're like, holy shit, Cross, what's all of this? I don't want to do this ever again.
Whether you want to do it ever again, we're probably going to do it again.
Can we just like go back to making people disappear?
Well, I think you kind of did make them disappear, right? They're like not on the road anymore, that's for sure.
Not like this, GM. Not like this.
That's pretty funny. Cool. Oh man. So should we? I don't think there's any actions left to take. I don't think it would be. I'm not interested in moving in action to see if Yeji gets up the cliff and stuff like that. So what did you guys have prepared? Where's probably like Cade waiting for you all, and what transport do you have to get the rest of the way to the village, or are you just walking, or what?
I kind of imagine like just in contrast of these super like heavy duty like armored vehicles, it's like dirt bikes or something like small and light and just like, but totally the opposite of like these heavy duty vehicles.
Yeah, that's cool. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Are you trying to stage it, Yeji?
I think Yeji would like to stage it. She's the one who's very concerned about the attention that they're getting with different things.
Right.
And obviously has sacrificed wealth for that. So yeah.
Let me think. Yeah.
I mean, that could be very easily like a downtime, reduce heat type thing.
It could be a downtime thing that you just like flash back to or whatever, doing this kind of stuff. The stuff that you would need to cover up might be a little tough though, because there's like harpoons into blown up cars over the ridge. Although it could even just be like reducing heat being like, I want to infiltrate the team that goes out there to investigate, and then you fuck with that stuff, right? So yeah. Cool. So I think, yeah, like further into the forest, there's like these dirt bike things, right? And they're futuristic-y, so they probably like float on the ground or something like that, and you pee in them to make them go, right?
It's very important that they kick up dirt. So as long as there's some sort of propulsion that kicks up dirt,
okay, sure,
that's fine.
Oh yeah, they're not good with soil. These futuristic bikes. And I think Kate is just waiting there, and I think he was like attached to Cross, I think, so runs up to Cross and is like, I was so worried. Was that the plan all along? I heard explosions, and it sounds like the lightning storm hit, but then it dissipated. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't exactly the plan, but lately that's how the plans have seemed to be going. So, just rolling with it.
I think he like laughs and thinks that, yeah, he just thinks it's funny. And then you zoom off to this hidden place. I've been looking on Pinterest to find what this might look like, but Pinterest's game for hidden villages is not strong. So, but what it is within the forest, Cade keeps like shouting, and initially maybe it doesn't seem. Oh no, but two of you are forged and said that you knew of the village. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you know, maybe two of you at least know what he's doing. He's using the echo to sort of like triangulate where he is going in the forest, because it's completely, you've entered the place where it's completely fogged out, right? And eventually, maybe after like a few kilometers of walking, which is an ascent up like a hill as well in this densely populated forest, and the fog is like thicker than you've ever encountered before, and it's a natural phenomenon. It's not like something that they developed or anything like that. And yeah, all you can smell is like, pine and stuff like that. And initially it sounds like he's doing bird calls and animal calls and stuff like that, but it's all just to test like the echoes of the hills and all that stuff. And eventually you come to like a village with these very strange setup where like these lines are tied. It would be almost, what would it look like? It'd be like telephone poles on the highway, lining it. It's that high, but there's like these screens that are draped from it. And you see these people kind of on these lifts that are scraping down, and the moisture is like pouring down into this large like bucket underneath. And they're collecting like the moisture for use in the village. And yeah, somehow I have like a very like Apocalypse Now picture in my head with these villages out there, but not that bleak or anything. Like they as soon as they see Cade and stuff, they're not like militant and armed and stuff like that. They just go about their day, and you pass along these fields, and it cinematically it would have like the feel of you walking for like half a day or something like that. And as you go further up the hill, it's just like these normal prefab buildings. So initially the texture is somewhat like the texture looks like those buildings that looks like it would be stone, but when you touch it, it's like plasticky feeling, right? Like it is made to look like buildings, but it's just fabricated stuff. And at the top of the hill, there's like a kind of cathedral looking place, and that's where the boy goes. And for the people that know the village, behind this way, there's like a graveyard and a path that goes into like even more densely fogged place, and that's where it's said that the tea masters places are go. But this is sort of like their front, is this cathedral place. So Cade takes you there, and then I think that's pretty much it. So are you going to spend the advance to do something here, like have this fictional positioning of getting something?
So first of all, as we arrive, I think, and come to a stop, the Steve kind of
get reckless.
comes to kind of like a skittering stop, but then like doesn't, and then like falls over with his entire bike. I'm suffering from a concussion, and while like still riding tunnel vision, like everything was fine, but no, like I think there's probably immediately some people who come rushing in to take Steve somewhere to lie down, and this is already leading into me setting up that I can do like recovery, downtime action stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But for your question, I really like the idea of doing the Patreon thing and like pushing this into a direction of where we are closely associated with this group.
Cool. So Patron, not what was the other one that you were thinking of? Underground Haven, right? Yeah. So Patron instead.
I like that.
Cool. Let's see. Let me open up, get my Blades PDF open here.
I can read it if you want.
Well, I've almost got it up here. Then we can do downtime stuff.
So when you advance your tier, it costs half the credit normally would. Who's your patron? Why do they help you?
And you want the patron to be like the Tea Masters?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Okay, let me get a picture of Tea Master here. Gotta have something cool in my board.
We could also like rename us, right? The Tea Masters Gardeners.
Yeah.
We're there to rip out the weeds.
Rip out the weeds, yeah. I need something properly mysterious for these people. Or at least this one master, anyway. Oh, this is cool. Man, my Pinterest board is so good. I know I say that every time, but I add to it every day. So on the daily, I like it something like this. The person who sort of goes to Steve maybe will be this person with like glitter face going on. And some of the pictures like below it too. Well, I guess it depends how your Pinterest loads. If it loads the actual picture with the suggested things below it, it might be the same as mine. I'll save it just in case. Something like that. Cool. And sweet. So yeah, what they say essentially is like, now that the mission is like complete, maybe someone like this, there's a few of these people in the church, I think. And this is just like their faces are not looking like this naturally, right? It's like a thing that they apply to their face. Some kind of nanotechnology and probably just not to be identified and stuff like that. And the way Tea Masters work is always in the village, there's 2 sets of like master and apprentice, and then in the city they switch out them. So they have like a basically kind of like a patron actually in the city. They fulfill a contract, they come back to with the money that supports the village, and their apprentice is like Cade, who is constantly going between the village and bringing back like money and food and all that stuff to support it. And meanwhile, the moisture farmer people that I haven't named yet, the ones collecting all the moisture basically on off those fog sheets, are also doing a similar thing where they are there's some sorcerers in the village that use their skills, kind of like Cade was doing, to find the place, but to instead source new streams of water and moisture and stuff like that. And the dispute that happened was basically, in a nutshell, is Carrion wanted those services. They were rejected, and then they subsequently began to like start tailing Cade, right? And try to find the village, and then eventually just strong arm them probably to do what they wanted. But you put an end to that. So I think you have the fictional positioning for sure for them to be your patron and support you. And the reason why that they help you is in gratitude, but also like a mutually beneficial relationship. They like their anonymity. There's like the urban legends that tea masters are also assassins and stuff like that, but there's never like any proof of that. And the village looks like that's what they do. Like beyond in the outskirts where people aren't doing the fog collecting, in the collective, in the tea masters area behind the church, if you go there, they're actually like making tea and good quality tea and stuff like that. So there's nothing to say that these people are actually assassins. It's just, stuff whispered on the wind and stuff like that. Cool. So you want them to be your patron? And are you actually changing your name to that? That would be funny. You've got a garden, you've got some tea, moving up in the world. Are you tearing up as well? I guess we'll see how much rep you have. Do you have enough rep to tier up even?
It depends more on the payout.
Yeah, so let's do that. Payoff. So the crew earns 2 rep per score by default. If they're higher tier, yes. 3 rep. No, they're not lower. People, if you keep the operation completely quiet so no one knows about it, Cade knows about it, the village knows about it. So I think that you're good with 4 rep, right? 1 rep per tier higher. Or would it be 5 rep because you're tier 0 and they're 2 above you?
No, it's a new rep. Oh no. Well, it's 2 base plus the difference would be
in
4.
Tier. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
and people know about it, so take the rep. In terms of jewels, is it a minor job, a small job, standard job, big score, major score?
Did we also earn turf?
I guess that would make sense, wouldn't it, hey? I think we had talked about something like that as well, right?
Yeah.
Do people remember?
I have a long-term project, but it wasn't tied to the score.
Well, I think it would be fine to get turf because
my suggestion is we have our place, our garden in shelter 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here, like it doesn't do anything other than be turf. Like we have a house here or something like that, a place to stay. We don't come here and are received as guests. We come here and received as, you like whatever, like that building or that hut or however that's made.
Cool.
I'm asking because that would actually give us
Yeah,
make us
so
cross over.
yeah, give yourself turf and take +1 with the Children of Water, tier 4.
Okay.
It'll probably end up being a lower tier once I'm done balancing everything, but for now, it's tier 4 weak, Children of Water. And just so you know, mechanically in the village, the Children of Water are like the Tea Master people, and then the sorcerers are also like a separate thing in the village as well that can be interacted with. They have their own goals and devices and stuff. And so your patron is the Children of Water, right?
And if everybody like we need to decide, is it the left or the right turf on the sheet?
Yeah.
So like,
which way are you going?
Chime in.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
I feel like the way we want to go is left, but the way that things have been going, we would want to go right.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sort of leaning in towards a front business of like gardens and food and stuff like that. We're not there yet, but like we're sort of leaning in that direction too.
I like left.
Left.
Yeah, let's go left. That's what we want to be.
Yeah. That's what we want. That's what we'd like to be. We're aspiring to the left. I like that. Are you thinking where you are currently is right because there's an incinerator? Yeah. I'll have to come up with more evocative and cool names for all that stuff too. More fitting to the setting. But I think in terms of jewels, you get 6 jewels. It's a standard score, decent loot. And heat. So what do we think for heat? Smooth and quiet, contained, loud and chaotic, wild.
I mean, it was kind of chaotic and loud, but it was also outside of Shelter 1, like it's way out in the boondocks.
Yeah. In terms of, it might be better to abstract it in terms of like Carrion's response, right? Like to
Right.
messing them up real good. Because they have an image to maintain, and this, thankfully, it'll probably take a little while for news like this to travel, and they'll have to like send out investigators and stuff like that. But yeah, what do people think? Probably 3, maybe not quite loud and chaotic.
Yeah.
I mean, they are well connected, so that should.
Well, it'll bump that up after, right? I just mean for the base.
Yeah, for base. Yeah, we wanted to we said the goal was to make this hurt in terms of what those vehicles cost and what they invested in us.
Yeah, and you did double basically, right? Like you took out the vehicles and the costs and stuff, but you also took out the people too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
3.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start at 2. Add 1 for high profile and well connected to 3. +1 heat if the situation happened on hostile turf. No. If you're at war, no. And +2 if killing was involved. Yes, lots of killing.
But we've got firewall.
Oh, right. Okay. Whatever. You guys think you're so cool.
The Sentinels don't care. And I think our firewall in this case basically is, well, that happened out in the wastelands or whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, that's true. Cool. So it ended up being 3, was it?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got 1 to 1.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Also, I would immediately suggest we drop the coin Like we pay the 4 coin and go up in tier.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And we're now tier 1 weak.
Oh yeah. What? And you guys were the ones who were framing the coil all up in there too, right? Like
What?
hardcore.
No, that's not us.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the coil. The coil is doing these things. We're not framing them.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Because incarceration, right? When one of your crew members, friends, contacts, or a framed enemy is convicted and incarcerated for crimes associated with your crew, your wanted level is reduced by 1, and you clear your heat. So that's funny, because I guess you guys were preemptively going for that.
Realistically, it's good to go up 1 in heat, because if we roll 2 die, take the lowest or 1 die. That's fine.
That's fine.
Also, we get results on the 0 to 3 table now. We would have gotten a result on the 6+ table.
That's true. That would be nice too, because if you guys keep that, then next time hopefully I'll have a table catered to this game instead of using the Blades one, and then we can test that one. I'm sure I'll have lots of opportunity to test the lower table, but perhaps not the higher one. Oh, but the higher one's 4 or 5 and then 6 anyway, so maybe never mind. Cool. So, who wants to roll entanglements?
I love to roll an entanglement.
I know
Do it.
What's the modifiers for this?
So you're gonna roll your heat.
No, you're gonna roll your wanted level, aren't you? So we roll 1 die.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can also just click. Oh no, there's not a button for that.
What happened? There's no button for it?
Dang. Nope. I hit the wrong.
Oh no, you
engagement.
can click on wanted and it will roll wanted for you.
Well, you rolled a 6.
Do you want me to?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I saw.
That's
E,
the wrong
I was
6.
That's the wrong 6. That's a good 6 right there.
I
remember what this was. We already had this.
You already had this?
Yeah, isn't the 6 that an ally wants us to do something for them?
That's a 0 to 3 heat 6.
We are 0 to 3 heat.
I thought you said that you had. Oh, because you went up, right?
We rolled over. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, that's why I was confused. Okay, so yes, yeah, it's a cooperation thing again then. Which, well, that might roll nicely into you having a patron and them having a problem with carrying and stuff like that too.
We got a patron, and now they immediately want us to go do a job.
Yeah. But it has to be a +3 status faction. Asks you for a favor. Agree
then
to
it's
do
the
it.
split piece.
If you don't have a +3 status, you avoid entanglements right now. So it's the split peas come calling again. Oh, this would be a good opportunity for them to be like to drop knowledge of how many things were taken to. They're like, oh, I'm surprised that you didn't want to make a profit after that. The report is only 1 or 2 were missing. It was hard for them to even catch. Good move. So let me look at split peas here. And the last thing they asked you to do was get the stuff to smuggle out to the fella reverse engineering it.
To get Merrick.
Merrick, yeah.
I mean, depending on what they're asking, it could be like maybe the job is to move Merrick somewhere safely, and now we've got this village we could maybe move him safely to.
Just totally hide him from the split peas.
That's true. Let me see what their faction clock is about here.
The problem about these jobs is they usually don't pay well, so we need to.
Yeah, and you guys are on that kick right now. All that no money. Ooh.
And I didn't stress out.
Okay. Yeah. So you did tear up though? Right?
Yeah, we tiered up.
Cool. And you spent in advance, so did everybody take PC stash as well? Yeah. You'll take tier +2
That-
your stash.
That happens on playbook advancement, right?
Yeah, didn't you take a playbook advancement? I thought you took patron.
Yes, we took. Yes, yeah. Didn't we take that last time though? I think we leveled up twice, and I've got 4 in my stash.
Oh, okay.
So
you did it last time? Okay.
Yeah. I think we took the stash last time already.
Okay. Well, how many advances do you have?
Well, let's check. So we've got 4 special abilities now, and we've never taken upgrades. We start with 2, and we've got 2, so we should all have 4 in stash from leveling the crew.
Cool. All right. So that's funny. Yeah. Let's do downtime, and I'll work in this cooperation action back in Shelter 1 because they don't know about this village. So if anybody has downtime that they would like to do, should we start with Yoshi?
Sure. I definitely need to go see my purveyor of vice, but that's in Shelter 1. But maybe I can find an alternate purveyor out here of obligation to maybe like just help out in the village, in the town, to sort of.
Well, I think we can be fast and loose with time, right? Like if you want to,
Sure.
yeah, you could be in either place. Especially, you've actually codified it with your turf anyway. So
Yeah. And since my vice's obligation with Orlin of basically looking after all of these forged people who are trying to make their way in Shelter 1 and doing something. So it's going and helping him out with that.
Oh, right. Yeah, last time you messed up that dude.
I messed up a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But seeing as I'm at 8 of 9 stress, I feel like it is probably a thing I should do.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So I'll hit Indulge Vice. I don't have any bonus dice, so I guess I just roll it.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Interesting. What does happen? I don't think I've seen a crit on a
Yeah.
clearing stress. Do you know what happens, Mateus? If anything, is it even codified? If you crit on reducing stress. I don't think I've seen that happen before. Which is funny.
You
Let's
super
see.
indulge.
Let's see if it says
I
any.
did.
I don't think it does. I've got it in front of me.
Yeah.
Clear stress equal to your highest die result. Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah. If you clear more stress levels than you had marked, or you overindulge.
Yeah. If we were to use the other codification of crit, it would be an extra 2, right? If it was a clock, like a long-term project, if you had crit, it would be an extra 2.
Yeah.
So we could do that. So 8 stress.
Well, that would empty my stress track, which is
Yeah.
probably useful.
Yeah. I think that's fair, hey?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's funny. Like, I don't think I've seen that before, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, this sets a precedent, right? Because usually if you have 7 stress, you're like, oh yeah, fine. I'm just gonna, like, I can't even overindulge, so it's all going to be good. But there's a slim chance that you still might. No.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. If you're a critter. So yeah, give me the fiction if you have something. Unless you want to just keep it that way you've already said.
Yeah, so I think like if because I got a crit, like it's totally me like going to Orlin and helping out. And I think there's probably like some fallout from like beating up those other people the last time. And so like it's sort of like just following up on that type of thing. And then I think at the end of it, it's maybe like it's just like a quick montage of like me going and like dealing with somebody else, and then like at the end of it it's just like we're eating like a community meal like at like a big table like with all the Forge people who are like now in a safer place because of all the shit that I've done.
Well, also as a side note, I really like that since you've tiered up, you have more people technically in your gang too, and then
Right, yeah,
so
yeah.
like it works. Like maybe a couple people join the
Yeah.
crew from the village and stuff, right? So it's another good instance of Blades doing things right.
Nice.
So you're good, Yoshi?
Yeah, the other thing is I probably want to start healing myself since I have a level 2 harm thing.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking let's do everybody once, take a break, do the
Yeah.
second actions, and then get going.
Cool.
So Mike, what is your first downtime action? EAG.
So I think I want to continue working on my long-term project of getting a device that can make acts of God, or
Right.
meaning that sort of connection. I was thinking, so I would probably go, and we had introduced Hawthorne, who has the connections, and he was going to hook us up. So I think I would go meet him. And I feel like at this point, Yeji would want to pull in one of her more like tech savvy allies. So either Gabrash or the Steve, or possibly both, to kind of like come along on this. And perhaps Gabrash is not to come.
Which means he probably did want to go, because he probably was like, that seems to be when it quits on him, is when he wants to be able to speak.
Right. But yeah, I think that this is also an opportunity for her to tip her hand a little bit to the rest of the group on what she's plotting here. Yeah.
Dude, what is happening with your computer?
I think it's cursed. Like if I start talking, if you mention me or a character, it's just gonna kick me out.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, I bet Darren did want to, because it seems to only cut him off when he wants to say something, not when he's doing nothing, right? So
Google gets too excited for me.
yeah. So did you wanted to go with Yeji, or?
Oh, what was it again? I'm so distracted from this thing happening.
Yeji's trying to find a way to make acts of God, and so at this point she wants she's not a like tech savvy person, and at this point, like, we're at the point where we start meeting with the people who would actually know what's going on. So I think she wants to pull someone in and kind of tip her hand to like what she's plotting here.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to go with you. And I think part of it also is that as Gabrish sees your angle in our group more, I think she just trusts you more. Because they're very much trying to be like a little social justice warrior. And like not just like out for the money. So yeah, for both things. I'll support you, and also I want to see what you're up to.
Nice. I will spy on you, but I like what you're doing.
Well, maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Cool. So are you meeting Hawthorne at the hunt again?
Understand, it was breaking up.
Were you gonna meet Hawthorne at the hunt again?
Yeah, I mean, if you think that makes sense, or maybe we're like meeting, we're about halfway through this clock. It's a 12-point clock though. If we want to meet somewhere more directly, wherever this organization would be, I don't know.
Yeah, what was the last little tidbit of information he gave through that clock again?
I think it was that like he was setting up a meeting like very directly with whatever this organization would be that has this capability.
Okay, well, let's say he sets it up then, right? Like you get word of it. And then that would make sense too. You want like a little bit of backup, right? Like, who knows? Hawthorne seems like he's cool, but you know, your character, excuse me, your character doesn't know that it's downtime, right? So, cool. So let's see. I think he will meet you. So the walls that separate the districts are actually filled with like massive amounts of soil, and workers go up them to work the soil, like as laborers and like actually growing stuff and whatnot. And each one has sort of like a mesh above it that filters through the UV light, so they're not like burning alive basically as they work on the top of these things. But every so often one of them doesn't, like it still has soil and stuff in it, but it's the whatchamacallit, the downtime soil. I can't remember what it's called in farming, but like you have to like let the soil replenish itself. So this
Fallow?
one, pardon?
Fallow, when you let the
Yes, yeah. So that's happening with that one. So basically, at the top of this, it's mostly just kind of like a park where people can go up and um, hang out and stuff like that. And so I think he sets a meeting up there. So you ride up this lift that's like gargantuan, right? It'd be like, I don't know, going up the, well, in Canada, I guess it would be like the Toronto Tower or whatever, right? Or the Calgary Tower, stuff like that, right? It's a long ride. And at the top, they have made it, there's like an overlay over it where they've made it look like a park. So there's like benches and stuff like that. Below you, the soil is like, you know, getting ready again. But for now, they're letting it be used as like a public space. And it's between the green zone and the blue zone. So past to your left or something like that would be the blue zone, and to your right would be the green zone that you know very well. But you're so high up that you're not seeing that much of a difference, and that's by like design. They don't really want green zone people to be seeing what's going on in other districts. But there's like a, yeah, it's just like a typical botanical garden thing with like a mesh overlay over top that is catching the UV. And in some places it's shadier than others, and that's probably where he's set up the meet. And let me grab this faction real quick so I can give you a name for who these people are. So along with your contact, there's another person who looks like, I don't have the window open. This, a little bit darker skin, but so darker skin and minimal makeup, white dyed hair along with dark, and like a weird like in style for not this district, metal mesh stuff over the mouth. And they are in like light fabric that covers all of their body except for their like neck up, and same colored eyes, like grayish blue thing going on, and kind of like piercing. And reputation, or in the fiction wise, they come off as careful, staunch, and artful, and they introduce themselves as Glimmer. And when they see that you've brought a friend, they're kind of like not super off put, but like you can tell it's like a wrinkle, you know, like it's acceptable but annoying, basically. And then why don't you roll your downtime and then we'll see how much stuff you get out of this. And you said you're halfway on a 12? Cool. And you get to roll an extra die because you've got your help with a friend. If you consider Gibberish a friend, actually. It's up to you. And
I mean, I think we can be friends still at this point.
Yeah.
No reason to burn that bridge yet.
Yeah, nice.
Who knows? Like 5 sessions down the road, there might be a car exploding that Caprice will want to push Yeji into accidentally.
Well, it's a downtime action anyway, though, right? Like you say, it's stressed out, Caprice ready to help, but it's not like you're gonna.
I'm just trying to live my fiction, for sure.
Oh, okay. Cool. So you get 2 ticks on the clock. And yeah, so I think in terms of the fiction, it would just be, so you have 4 more ticks to go. And so yeah, you know that the first kind of few ones were like they exist, and I'll show you them. So now you've met Glimmer, who is introduced as like the face of the group. And did you learn the name of the group already?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say it was Straylight?
Yes, you did.
Okay, cool. Cool. So yeah, she is the face of Straylight, and I think it's kind of like a handle pass off, right? Like you'll be able to contact them in the future, but they'll need like some more convincing that you're on the up and up. Maybe like fictionally, they need to check credentials, make sure that you're not like a sentinel and all that kind of stuff. So maybe a cool thing would be like maybe she drops like a piece of tech and it like pops up and scans your body and like even gets you maybe it's scanning as you're walking up, so it gets your gait and everything, right? So they can cross check it on cameras and stuff like that. And of course that means they also get Gabrash too. Helpy Helperton. And yeah, so I think Glimmer just says they'll be in touch, and mechanically that's what you get out of the 2 ticks. Is that cool? Unless you're doing a second downtime action to further the clock even more, then we can make it go further.
I don't think so. I'm gonna do
Okay. And how about the Steve?
Well, I'm getting patched up in the what's it called again? Place.
In Cresting Grace?
Yeah, in Cresting Grace. So I think we get to see a little bit of like how they live there and how they're set up and living.
It's set up like a walkaway colony. So they have like these massive fabricating printers, and essentially what they need to go to shelter 1 for is to get the like ingredients basically for this stuff, which is fairly expensive. And so they lend out their services from time to time as team masters to get the money to do this. And then it also requires like a lot of water and moisture, and that's where the moisture farmer people come in, the sorcerers. And
so is it basically all the walls, like all the buildings and the furniture in the buildings are made of the same substance?
Yeah, but it's like the fabricators are able to replicate things very well. So it's
different kinds of textures, or like varying in degrees of density and flexibility depending on what you need. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you'll even see like some of the people, like the kids that aren't able to actually work and stuff like that, are sort of whittling some of this furniture down to what it's supposed to be. Because when it's fabricated, there's still like printing stuff going on, and they also take a lot of care to make sure that it kind of looks homey, you know, like when they print like what is supposed to look like a wooden table, they'll actually like make marks on the table so it feels like lived in and like rustic. And
so what they also know how to do is make those things come out in different colors. It's not all in the same color.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem relatively advanced, and they subsist on everything that they need. The only thing that they require is the materials and the money to be able to pay for it and stuff like that. So that if they didn't need that, they would probably just like never even interact with Shelter One. But
yeah, so whatever they have there for an infirmary or something like that, right? That's where we see Steve kind of getting patched up.
yeah, maybe we can
Huge
even
bandage around his head. But
yeah, I bet in the noggin. Yeah, we could even make it on the movie of this, like you saw the person with the glitter face, right? And then maybe it moves. Whatchamacallit? We get like the typical medical sequence, right? Where like you kind of like pass out and then your eyes open and you see them tending to you and then your eyes close again and then
exactly,
like, all that kind of stuff. So healing in this is it's similar to Blades in that you'll roll the skill level of the person and everything, but each roll counts as a separate roll towards your healing clock.
So if I do this at this point, I'm rolling their tier of our new patron? Or
yeah, I think that's fair. And right now, I think I said they were at 4, right? Tier 4? Let me check.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down at least.
Children of Water tier 4, yeah. So roll their tier, and then take each die as a separate die roll.
Oh, okay, wow, yeah.
Towards it, yeah. And what it looks like is them basically like injecting you. Like there's still some like sewing up the wounds and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of it is more innovative technology that interacts with your nanites that basically like makes them more efficient, produces more of them, and so it's more like your body is healing itself, but they're sort of like working as programmers and like torques on your own body, right?
Mm-hmm. And question: if the healing clock rolls over, does it roll into the next one?
Yes. Otherwise, that would suck.
Well, that roll is not that good.
Yeah. Well, at least it counts separately as each one.
Yeah, that's good. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 for the next one. Okay.
So how good are you now?
Well, I still have. If I move too fast, I get dizzy. Basically, level 1 hit in the head by rock.
Yeah. Do you have 2 level 1s then? Is that what happened?
No, I had level 1. I was grazed by a bullet, and I had level 2. So everything now went down 1 level, right?
So just 1, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got 1 towards the 1.
Next one, yeah.
Cool. And Gabrish, what about yours?
I think I'm going to train for this action. And I want to like springboard it off of the meeting with Yeji. So now that I know more in depth, that this is about like acts of God and learning how to control them, I think that I'm probably just trying to talk Yeji's ear off about like the good side of this and being like, oh my god, if we could make these weather systems, like we could reverse so much of the stuff that's going on. Like completely like no idea what Yeji wants this for, but like listen, there's a great thing we could do with this. So I'm seeing it like just doing like a bunch of research and like maybe talking to Yeji and like bouncing ideas off of her as much as like Yeji will allow it. So it's kind of that like theoretical high level discussion, talking about how this tech would work, what the purpose of it is, things like that.
Cool. And what are you training then?
Insights, because I'm thinking this is like a study.
Yeah, makes sense. And is that one of your things that gives you double?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get that double.
That's right.
Cool.
Oh my god. Cool. God.
And then why don't we take till the hour for a little break, come back, do the rest of downtime, and move into it?
Cool.
Cool. So funny.
The exact moment Mike types I'm ready in here. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I'm glad Google got out of the way before we really dove in here.
Yeah. Yoshi, second downtime.
Yeah, so I think I'm really just in the background of all of the shots, and then like of the healing shots for the Steve, and then it flips, and like you see it from the other perspective of very similar things happening to Cross, because she got struck by lightning and she needs to heal up a little bit. So,
Get that recovery.
yep. Healing. So I'm
We
gonna hit
couldn't
that.
really roll more poorly than the Steve, so should be fine.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, all right, I'll have to go look at what that is, but I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, it'll be. So 1 to 3 is 1 segment, 4 to 5 2 segments, 6 is 3 segments on the clock.
So with 2 6s, that ends up being 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, so perfect amount, right?
Yeah, it goes a completely gone. Drops from 2 to 1, then 1 to 0.
Yep. Good.
T's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. They give Cross the good stuff. Steve is kind of a dick.
Yeah. Like I'm sitting there drinking the tea and I'm like not sure why the Steve isn't better. Like it just worked.
Yep. Sweet. And Mike?
Yeah, so I want to train, but I also didn't want to lose like a little bit of interaction between Gabrish and Yeji,
Right.
based on some of the stuff that's going on. So I think Yeji at some point, perhaps it's when they're headed back from meeting Glimmer, kind of turns to, and so they're kind of starting this conversation about like what the thing is, and Yeji kind of turns to her and is like, I know that a trickle of water can cut through rock over time, but it gives the opportunity for the rock to harden itself. And what we have found in the Forged is that sometimes a wave is what you need to wipe the entire rock away. She kind of looks at her, like Abration says, what we just did, I want to make that happen in Shelter 1.
Yeah. Gabrish is pretty taken aback because I think they were following up until you were like, I want this to happen in Shelter 1. They were like, yeah, there's like huge changes we can do. And then when you say Shelter 1, I think Gabrish is like, no. Yeji, there's so many people that have moved in here. We can't just like wipe out the city. That's insane.
She goes, no, we don't wipe out the city. We know how to stop it. We just need to know how to start it.
Well, this makes me very uncomfortable, Yeji. Okay, so like, what if this is out of our hands, though? What if, I mean, there's clearly other people who can do this, so what if what we do gets to other people and we can't stop it? What if we're not around to stop it?
She nods. Kind of like something to consider. You are indeed wise.
And Brish says, you go to that gambling place, right? It's like, this isn't just another like toss of the dice for you, is it?
Yeah, I think Yeji is just kind of silent because it sort of is. Yeah, and just says, I think that we can achieve what you want to achieve, but we need to do it all at once.
Yeah, Gabrish is kind of like still looking at you, but I think they're like, I'm not thinking big enough. I think Gabrish gets caught up in like ideas a lot, so they're like, and then they're still spinning out with like, okay, yeah, big enough, and then like their mind's going toward like, oh, we could change everything all at once. Like not even talking about what's going on in the city, but yeah, they're kind of like lost in thought at that.
So yeah, and I guess as Yeji is like considering what Gabrish had said about like the potential dangers of this, they probably get back to the garden, and then Yeji just goes and just starts like hacking it like some kind of dummy. So I want to just do a training here.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so I will be marking an XP.
In what?
It is going to be. It's going to be in. Oh God, where's the sheet? In prowess.
Okay. Cool.
I think we get 2 for prowess as well. Yeah.
Do you? Who knows?
The crew sheet knows.
Who knows though, really? Okay, what about the Steve?
I think what we maybe see is Cross picking up her bag, about to go and basically head back to Shelter 1. But we're still in this building or where they treat people, yeah, that you pick up your bag at front desk or something, and down the hall, we suddenly hear someone yelling, an altercation, something like a loud noise of something crashing, and then an attendant like comes ducking out of the room we were in, and behind them like a cup goes flying and shatters on the walls, spreading tea everywhere. And this is me using my second downtime action to recover, but I guess I'm not going to use any downtime actions to actually indulge my vice. So this is me expressing also earning a point of stress from my trauma.
I just like shake my head at the attendant. I'm like, yeah, I'll go get him.
Yes. I mean, if this weren't like 4 dice, right?
Yeah.
I rolled in recovery be real bad.
Yeah.
This fits perfectly though, right?
Yeah. It's rough. I don't know, Yoshi, if you've played Blades before, but Matthias and Yoshi, or anyone who's played Blades before, do you like this recovery better? I think it's like fits the setting better than Blades, right? Where it's like
with more advanced medicine, yeah. I mean, you have to also consider rolling 4 dice. Like we got into a fictional position right now, which is rather amazing. That's what you need to try in Blades too as players. Get someone to fix you up.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you do it yourself, can be really grueling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So like I think I like tell the attendant like I'll go get him, and like maybe I like go and help and get him and maybe bring him out because I want to spend a coin to do an extra downtime action. I'm like, you need to blow off some steam. Why don't you just like show like you were really good at like making distractions and things like that? Like, why don't you just go and like come show me how to do some of this stuff, which is basically going to be training in prowess, and have the Steve show me how to cause distractions and blow shit up because that feels like the thing that he needs to do right now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's definitely a good distraction for him, yeah.
Might be good fictional positioning for the Steve to spend a duel to indulge their blights.
Well, except my vice would actually be stupor, and we'll see that one of these days, I think.
One of these days, yeah.
But for me, that training and prowess actually levels me up, so I'll get the a dot and rec.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think what it is here, I know what it is. And what like once we get back, I actually show you the in our training room the simulation that I've got.
Yeah,
right?
perfect.
That I've used before, and yeah.
Cool.
And so, are we at this at Gabrish then? Steve just went.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I think I need to. Well, I don't know. I kind of want to just leave my stress alone. And take the trauma when it comes. Well, I was going to spend some coin anyway. So I want to work on my long-term project for hacking into Nourish to try and get a lead. So I think that's before I do Shelter 1 again to meet up with everybody at Crest and Grace if we're going to meet up there. And I think, yeah, it's just, I don't know, some more hacking stuff, whatever that looks like. Some more party line with the haunt community. Or maybe it's like, maybe I get a lead and I get documents or meet somebody or whatever. Something to advance that.
Okay.
Oh, I guess I have to choose.
How much clock do you have left in it?
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.
Okay. Well, yeah, why don't we roll first, and then we'll see how close you get to fulfilling it. Then we'll see.
Yeah.
What?
I'm just gonna roll a hack because I think that's what I'm aiming for here. I'm hacking them.
Wait, who are you hacking?
Into Nourish. I'm trying to find like, yeah.
You're dipping them.
Dipping.
Yeah. Which is ironically what the coil did. It's a lot of cyclical things happening in this.
It's still the coil, not us. Still the coil.
Oh man! By the time you're done with them,
Ooh,
there you go.
Yeah, 6.
So halfway there. And so yeah, you're just like hacking away, but haven't quite got all the, or maybe you like start a program, right? And it's like doing it searching and stuff like that, and yeah, we just see it like on its way to working or whatever, right? In the fiction.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
It's like the 90s movie Hackers with all the like squares for the computers and just like one is lit up.
Is that your space? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, cyberspace always looks like Hackers.
I see.
No questions asked.
Oh, sorry. So let's see. I think for the entanglement, we'll have maybe you're back at the community garden, right? And I think instead of Theo, it's Jasmine this time. And maybe y'all are, doing your work. Oh yeah, Gabrish, you had a second project as well, right? That you had.
Yeah, I was expanding the turf by like literally expanding the garden.
Yes, literally expanding it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I just remembered that. But yeah, so we see like all these people working on it. Like mechanically, the ticking hasn't happened, but I'm sure like the new group members and stuff like that are pitching in by ripping up floorboards and using sledgehammers to knock down the walls and stuff like that for where the space is going to be put into, right? That you had evacuated safely before you like asked them or something like that, right? And yeah, so do you think with your tier up is the community garden nicer as well? Yeah.
It
How
was
about-
nice to begin with. Thank you.
Yeah, but it can get better always, right?
I think
maybe-
it reflects a little bit that like the business starts flowing now,
Mhm.
right? Before we were getting things off the ground. Now there's a steady kind of income or throughput.
Mm-hmm. Maybe as we get the same shot as her entering before, instead of it being whatever the herb was that I said before, it's like a nicer herb, right? Like maybe there's some saffron in there or something like that. But yeah, it's certainly like an echo of the first time and meant to display like the difference in the garden. Actually, how about each of you tell me one thing that is different about the garden since the difference in it, right? How is it changed since the last time Jasmine has been here?
I've got something,
Sure.
and I actually want to roll something mechanically into this.
Okay.
Pay a coin for another downtime action. And what we see is not far off from Jasmine and Gabraish, like these kind of slightly elevated what would you call them, like plant pots, like longish ones, right, that are like really looking okay. We're like we grow something special in there, or it's designed for some special kind of plant or whatever we're going for there. And we see the Steve pop out on the other side and say something akin to like, yes, I think I've got it wired up. Let's give this a try. And I turn something. There's a click, and then you see how these pots get a very fine sprinkling of water all over. And we're doing like I'm doing this as like a display for Jasmine, right? In the scene, and it's also the Steve having done like all the wirings underneath the new part of our garden, the extended part. And I kind of want to use a downtime action to pay into the Gebraich's clock, though, because
well, why don't you use an action to,
yeah.
And then I think you get an extra die because Gabraish is probably helping, or if you're friends.
Yeah, or I don't know, like maybe this is even something that draws Yasmin in.
Is what?
Could also be.
Oh yeah, because you guys are friends with her for sure. +3 status, right? Sure. I really like that. Like her helping out before you get down to business and stuff.
And this might be like we've built this thing to let these special. I don't know what they are yet. If anybody has an idea, but they provided the seeds for them. Right?
Oh.
We're demonstrating. Yes, no, this will work. Like we've got something where we can grow these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. And is it like is it like a crop that like a gene hacked thing, like something that is like yields pretty good and shouldn't kind of exist type thing, because it's the split peas, right? So potentially their whole thing is gene hacking, so making stuff that shouldn't exist basically.
Yeah, and we could think about what it is. I don't have like something that comes to mind immediately what we want it to be, but I do think we're kind of angling for the claim front business here. Is that correct? Or
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So then I mean, interesting would be that this is the base ingredient for screen.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm down for that. I wonder what it will be. I don't know enough about stuff, but
Or Yeah, like this plant could actually grow very well in this extreme sunlight,
Right.
and it's about extracting whatever, or maybe this is already part of the result of what the split peas did with the sample. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is like if we're trying, one of the things is providing food that is not tracked. Like this could just be like something that's like a perennial stable food that like, whether that's a fruit tree or something, or a bush, or even just like potatoes or something like that provides a decent amount of nourishment that isn't
that
tracked.
people would buy off of us to grow
Right.
then on their own.
Or yeah, even something like that. Yeah, exactly. So that people can get food that isn't tracked.
This is how we get around the law. Well, we're not actually providing the food. The people grow it themselves. So what's up with your monopoly, Nourish? It doesn't have anything to do with us, right?
Right.
Yeah, cool. So let's see. The roll goes. Oh, so that's a 5. So it's an additional 2 ticks.
Yep.
For your
Let's
clock.
see. High yield crops could be peas, pole beans, zucchini, tomatoes, cucumbers. Oh, that's all it has listed. It's really easy to find stuff that thrives without sunlight, but not in direct sunlight. all the searches that I run for it is just like, I think you mean shade.
Google's like, obviously it needs sun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about growing well in shade and stuff. And I'm like, no. Whatever. And then some.
Do you want to mark those 2 down?
And you rolled with the help as well?
Yep, it was 3 dice. So we're close to getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, almost there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I can delete the rock clock because it happened. Cool. All right. Yeah, so after all the display and the hard work and everything, I think Jasmine kind of does the like nod right over to the gazebo to get everybody situated over there again. And there's like the chairs and all right. Let's get I wanted to know everybody's detail too. I forgot about that. So does anybody else have details of how this place has changed since the last time Jasmine has come in?
I think it's fuller. Like I think about like a botanical garden and a greenhouse, where it's just like very lively. So maybe before it was like there were just organized crops and it was easy to navigate, but now it's at a point where like it's more of like a horticultural thing where like there's symbiotic plants that are like bunched together, and it's making the paths a little bit more overgrown, so everything is just a little bit denser, and maybe there's more like foliage coming up because maybe there's more trees and everything. Just looks greener, I guess, basically.
Cool.
I think for me is you don't notice it at first, but it's like a buzzing because there's probably like a beehive or something, like pollinators that come and like for pollinating everything and doing things like that.
Maybe it's the synthetic bees across from the tea shop down the way.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think at the entrance where we had this sort of like the sales displays, essentially, that's all. It was maybe a little more ramshackle, and now it's like very like neatly organized, and like there's multiple levels, and perhaps that's also kind of like creating the entrance. The garden itself is maybe a little bit more privatized because there's just like these sort of like tiered shelves of plants and produce and that kind of thing. Like it's a much like fuller sales mechanic that's starting to emerge at the front of the garden as well.
Cool. I like it. And so yeah, you're all in the gazebo with the overgrowth, right, running up the side of the wall. There's like a couple benches, and I think she's sits on one of them and maybe looks like a little bit nervous for the first time. She's generally not. Let me see what her words are. She is wise, talented, reasonable, and in this moment also nervous. And she says, Merrick is still in the city, but safe, and I thank you for that. And lately, Sentinels have redoubled their efforts in the district, but I'm sure you already know all that, and it's sort of like alluding to like, I know y'all fucked with Carrion real good, right? But is like, a few of us have been thinking of our former colleagues. We've gotten word that a few of the people who we thought had perished in our flight, so just as a reference, the Split Peas had, they were sort of like indentured to Nourish as scientists, and some of them are actually like farmers that would be working the fields in the walls. But most of them are like top scientists and stuff like that that worked on a plan and engineered a plan to break them out of Nourish, and then started this faction and worked their way up and yada yada. In the escape, they thought that a bunch of people had been killed and or like made example of, and just like on the down low, basically the word around the employees and stuff like that was like, don't try to do what those people did. It does not end well for them, and we're gonna go after them and stuff like that. Like years later, whatever, they're still around, but Nourish did a very good job of making it seem like these people had been killed, and now some information has come to light that that's not the case. They're still there. Like their colleagues are being forced to compete with the Split Peas, basically, to get better gene hacked fruits and vegetables and all that stuff, and start competing with the Split Peas directly. And Jasmine is trying to like put together a force that would break them out of Nourish directly, which is a big deal. Like she said, and just telling you is like a big deal as well, obviously. But the first step is we need to locate where they are, because we've been told that they too, just like Merrick, have been moved around a lot so that people can't target them. So it wouldn't be a direct like assault on Nourish or anything like that, but in one of their holdings throughout the city somewhere where they keep being moved to. And the only people that we trust with this job would be you, even though, you know, you have done a lot with limited resources that you've been given. And we, as usual, are being watched, even just for putting on the Green Mile every week. So if you need work, we will reward you in kind for doing this task. And it's sort of like a help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope type thing.
How much are we talking?
Mechanically, I think it would be like probably 10 or 12.
For the whole thing of getting them out.
Yeah.
But it sounds like this would be a 2-part score. One score to find out where they are, and that we would have to run unpaid and then get paid after the second one. That's kind of the deal here.
Yeah, and if I guess she could even offer to front a little bit of cash to do the sourcing first, so you don't have to dip into resources in order to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm not negotiating. I'm just trying to create a baseline of understanding.
Yeah, I think that would be
because it sounds
correct.
cool. Yeah. Though I'd argue, like, now this is me negotiating. That if we go like into one score into debt, basically, or let's say not into debt, but we deliver, like, we have to do the first score, which doesn't have a payout, then the second score has a payout, and if we assume a standard rate of 6 cred per score, we're doing a lot of work up front, so the total should be more than 12. I mean, this is also an entanglement, so maybe this is even a thing we need to.
Yeah, let me look at that.
Right, because we're like the complicated setup for these two scores in my mind is because of the entanglement.
Yeah.
But the question is how
part of it might even be that it's a favor, right? Because it's technically it's a +3 status faction that asks you for a favor, agree to do it, or forfeit 1 rep per tier of the friendly faction, or lose 1 status with them.
Yeah, and that's the angle she would be pushing, right?
Yeah,
and I think I don't think like this is brought up, but she then pushes the angle of well, that's why we're allied. We need to help each other out. So you're gonna get paid normal rate and stuff, but until like completion, we can't afford more right now as under the pressure we're in. And the Steve kind of pushes back against that, but not as hard to actually push for a role here, I think.
Okay.
Unless someone else in the crew picks up what the Steve kind of clumsily like throws Jasmine in the face or on the table here. Like, if anybody wants to be like the good cop to my clunky cop.
Well, I think Gabrish, because I'm working on this project, Gabrish steps up and says, like, no, I don't think we need any more money, but if you have information on Nourish, we could probably use an in to that. And I'm just trying to get like something else on the side, as like I'm trying to sidestep this idea of more payment just to help me pursue my clock.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, so you want your clock built. Right. And what was the mechanical end goal of your own clock?
I would like to just have a lead for a score that I can try to sell everyone on as a way to like do something directly to Nourish. Right. I don't know if that's like a real goal I can have mechanically, but okay. Yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's a real goal I can have. Yeah. So interesting. She nods and she's like, a lot of our funds are tied up into our holdings and our processes, but information, that's something that we can work with. We have other dealings with other factions that I'm sure could drum up whatever information it is that you're looking for.
Is it the coil?
No, it's not the coil. The coil is like the leader's incarcerated, so
too bad for them. I wonder how that happens.
Yeah, weird. Yeah.
I mean, feel free to argue against me here. I'm totally looking out for my own on this one.
Yeah, does anybody else have stuff to say?
I mean, yeah. Where do we start digging for the lead into Nourish? I'm kind of like inadvertently like hitting into the same thing, but for the score, right? So it's like they're moving them around. But like, do you have something to go on? Or we should start digging? That kind of thing.
I'm gonna be a dick and say all we have is whispers. It's a favor.
We've been expanding this garden. I'm working with you guys, and you can't give us any lead to help you with this huge score you want us to run for you. You have nothing.
We can give you the person who's been whispering at the market.
That's a start.
Yeah.
Nice, great. It's a start. Do what I want.
Yeah, the Steve is satisfied with us. He's sure the others can get information.
Clever, Steve. Clever.
You do realize the type of information that I gather may not be the type of information we want to be gathered.
Well, it is somebody whispering about stuff. Maybe you want them to shout. What about Yeji?
Yeah, I mean, Yeji's kind of going with the flow. She is tempted to kind of like reinforce that they should be going along with this by kind of letting slip that. I don't know if you guys think that this makes sense. I was thinking of sort of letting slip, like to say something along the lines of like, we could have introduced competition on your goal to produce new screen, and we stayed loyal to you and just making sure that you are the ones that are pursuing that. In order to try and get a little bit more information to show like, hey, we're tight. You kind of owe us because like we could be profiting off of your scams, and yeah.
But we did turn the person.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too. But they don't know that. I don't know.
True.
This sounds like a good.
If we think it doesn't make sense, it's fine. That's just the one thing that I would think that like Yeji could like insert into this situation.
I think it's good because you only gave her those 2 vials. So like, who else would we give them to? We have to give them to our employer. But it's good. I think it's interesting that you bring it up because we could have actually done something.
Yeah, and if you want her to do this, maybe I go a little bit too far even, and I say, I looked inside that box. There were hundreds of vials.
Yeah, well, if you don't bring it up, she would.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just say that like Yeji just goes a little bit too far, and it just says like, yeah, like there's plenty of people who would be very interested in obtaining a few more of those, and we got for you 2.
Yeah,
like this is the point where the second teacup breaks on this episode.
Yeah.
As the Steve just stares at Yeji.
Yeah, Jasmine is like, certainly we were surprised that you only took a small amount. We thought perhaps you didn't want the heat. But, so you want more money? Is that what it is? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, we need investment up front. Like, Yeji's like I think Yeji especially is like a hard bargainer on like cash and like fronting. Like she's been in the criminal underground for a long time. Like she just doesn't want to like fuck around on spec.
Right. I
mean, I've like we could handle this via roll, right? Because consequence could be that the relationship with the split piece gets strained, and that could be a clock.
Sure, I like that idea. Yeah, so are you controlling? Are you swaying? I don't think it's a sway. You're not very nice, but yeah.
I mean, Sway's bargaining, right? Consort would be being nice, or networking.
Yep.
It's definitely not networking, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna need help if it's if this is control.
It sounds like it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's risky and standard effect. And as a ripple, when
How much is standard effect, though?
Yeah. We'll say standard effect is she fronts you 2. And if you want more than that, it'll be desperate. But the consequences means too, if you push it to desperate, then the clock fills up faster.
Or or if you roll a 4 to 5, it'll only be 1. Like that we don't get all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, the Steve is fuming, so I'm definitely not helping here. Like that is the thing she could pick up on. So it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else might want to help, but not me.
Someone else want to strong arm Jasmine with the person who just said they screwed you out of like 10 jewels. I think it was going to be 10, something like that. It was going to be a big score.
I'm too stressed out to help. Gabrasia's pride.
I got the stress to burn, but I don't know. I mean, I think maybe I'll help, but like I'm trying to figure out like how I help you convince them, seeing as I was the one who helped convince Merrick to double cross them.
Yeah, well, they don't know that yet. That would be a fun clock, actually, as a ripple. It's the split fees find out. I'll happily make that clock for you if you would like a ripple.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that one.
Well, what about Yeji? Yeji likes ripples.
What's my consequence? Oh, finding. Oh, Yeji likes that ripple a lot. We should not oppose that ripple to Yeji.
Sounds good. Split peas find out. Wait. Suddenly there's like 2 clocks that each could reduce your status with them. Oops. Okay, so you get an extra die for that.
So I've got 2 extra dice at this point. Is that correct?
One, right?
Just 1? Okay.
Yeah.
No one's helping you doing this.
Yeah, and then so part of the consequence though will be there's the -1 status with split peas, and then there's also split peas find out, which will be a whole separate bag of things.
That's a complete failure. Like we don't even get anything for it.
Okay, so let's see. How do I want to adjudicate this to the roll for the clock? So yeah, I think the clock will go up. Just the normal one. I won't do the split piece finds out yet. To 3. And what this looks like in the fiction is when you say that, she says like, that was your choice. And we saw the footage. You looked at all of the jewels that you could have made, and you turned away. So don't blame us for your mistakes, Yeji. And then I think she like gets up and puts like a picture, the contact that she already promised. with like a geolocation for the next. Maybe it also has like the next Green Mile location or something like that, because that's where you'd find them. And then she just like walks out, and she's not like, yeah, she's definitely cold and stuff, but she's not like, super pissed or anything like that. But she's just like, remember your failure at the cave, Yeji. So,
I mean, the icy atmosphere doesn't leave with her.
yeah.
I don't think so.
So all that money that we could have made. Right.
Yeji just is kind of like has her arms crossed, is like leaning back in her chair and just like spits to the side, and just looks at you guys and is just like, we need them to take the heat on this, not us.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't want to be in a worse spot than we already are. I guess kind of thinking about the 1 level, how we're kind of getting on radars now.
I think the thief stands up and like stands like his foot stepping with his shoes into crunching the broken bits of the teacup, and just says, sometimes I wonder what we are in this for, even. Like, shoots a glance at JG and then turns away, and just pissed because he's just in for the money in this and not for some strange ideals.
That's what I want. I want the money. Cool. So does anybody else talk to Yeji about the news that you just found out? And also, by heat, do you mean like you want to fray the split peas for this now?
No, I think like Yeji's concern has been that she doesn't want our group to be developing this like new type of screen that the split peas is, because like that's just going to, and I think that that's kind of the irony with the relationship with the Steve here, which is kind of fun, is that Yeji wants the big score. Like she just wants a ton of money. And so she doesn't have a lot of patience for like these little deals. And like, that's essentially what she was talking about with the water, is like, I don't want to like slowly do this and give people the opportunity to like come on us for something that like is not achieving like what we want all at once. So, and for her, that is that's a big load of cash. So I think that that's what she's kind of going for, and that's why she doesn't want the group like pursuing this screen thing, is because she's just like, all that's going to do is bring more attention to us and not get us money. And I think, so she's also trying to like work Gabrish on like the idea of like, this is the better, like idealistic way to handle this. But yeah, she has not talked to the other two yet to kind of like, get them in line. And that has obviously burned her. So yeah.
I mean, the Steve doesn't carry that kind of long-term vision. Like that's kind of...
His name is the Steve. So, tells you everything, really.
I've got long-term vision, but it's not about that.
So, with 10 minutes left, should we just do XP rather than cut to trying to get information from this fella?
Yeah, also, I mean, we could have like a short, what would the score look like? And then we can better frame what kind of information we get beforehand.
Yeah, sure. How are you planning on approaching this person at the Green Mile? Especially like, Green Mile is sort of like a peace area too, right? Like even the way Cross explained it last time, right? Like people don't mix with each other in the Green Mile, but yet the only place that they know that this person shows up each time is the Green Mile because they're the split peas. So there is some friction there, but luckily you're the disappearing type.
Wait, our scores, we're finding out exactly where the person is that we're gonna like rescue, basically, right?
Well, you have the location of the person who's been whispering about these people not actually being dead, right?
Yeah. Oh, I thought.
The end goal is to extract a group of people from the Nourish.
Yeah.
But we don't know where to extract them from. So the first
Right.
score would be finding out where they actually are at any moment in time for
Okay.
following score.
Okay, cool. I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking the person was going to be part of the gathering information, and then we'd have a score to get more information. I guess I think I was extending it too far.
Yeah. I mean, like this person in the Green Mile could be like a social score or something,
Right.
To get into their graces, or we could steal the information from them,
or snatch and grab them. Yeah.
Yeah, or we could use him just as a gather information role for let's get into some corporate headquarters of Nourish to steal the information where the group is. Like that could also
Right.
Or that's what comes to mind for me.
I would love to see a social plan. It also works for my character.
Yeah. So the idea is just to have a civil conversation at the Green Mile.
Are we capable of civil conversations?
I don't know. Are you?
I think we are, but
Are we?
I mean,
Especially with the Steve being
Stable.
unstable, yeah.
that's true. Maybe it just means our reputation is going to change away from professionals. Yes.
I mean, it could be interesting. It might be not like a huge. Could also turn out not to be like super long score, so that's cool too.
I mean, but as always, I'm into like pretty much anything. I think stealthing into a corporate office, like a satellite office or whatever, would be interesting. I guess it depends on the kind of scope we want to have, right?
What does Yoshi and Mike think? What are you vibing on?
I mean, I'm okay with any of those. On a purely social mission, I am not going to have a lot to contribute other than maybe sneaking around and grabbing something if somebody else wants to be the distraction while me or Yeji go grab things.
What about, do you have imposing?
I don't think I have imposing yet.
Oh, okay. Because that would help.
Imposing. Is that an advancement for the edge?
Yeah, it's the second one. When you
Oh,
gather
yeah.
information to anticipate possible threats in a current situation, you get +1 effect. When you dissuade someone from escalating to physical violence by controlling them, you have potency.
Yep. Nope, I do not have that one yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the way we could handle it is right. If Gibraish does the initial talking, any fallout could be resisted by you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't need like that. That's a way.
Yeah, you can just be a
where you
stress.
could still angle it. Yeah. But I'm also thinking like kind of similar. If there's like if there's like a second thing that we're like, maybe we have to make sure a third party doesn't get to know this, and that might be an angle for us having like multiple fronts that we're working on during the score.
Sure. Cool. Well, I guess people be thinking of that.
Maybe the coil finally does something about us.
Well, it's hard because I think they're just like tier 1, and they had like 3 or 4 people. Like basically, it was like a startup business, right? Where they were like just coders that were starting to dip off of the corporations. And then you guys are like, oh, those guys are murderers. They're like, what? It's pretty funny. Let's do XP quickly though. Darren, or
Whoever I am.
yeah.
I don't think
Stop being 3 people.
you're telling me.
Yeah.
I don't think I had any desperate actions.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
did I address a challenge with deception or influence? I was trying to work my own clock.
Yeah.
With Jasmine.
I think that's in the spirit of it, but also the frying the vehicles, right? Like taking most of the stress to get that plan off. That they didn't see that shit coming. That was deception for sure, I think.
Okay. I'll buy that. I'll purchase that.
Okay.
Sale. I think that's it for those 2. I don't yeah, I'm fine with that. And then express my beliefs drives culture or background, right? Yeah, I was trying to express the drive, especially with Yeji, that I want to like utilize some big ideas for only good. I think that might be it for that too. I'm fine with that. And then struggle, advice, or traumas. I kind of pointedly did not do that. But I have big ideas. I want to get obsessed with making acts of God.
Right.
But that's it for me. Big plans coming.
Nice. And Matthias?
Yeah, no desperate roles. I addressed the challenge with technical skill twice. Once, well, the car stuff with the fumes, and part of our new garden. So that's 2 there. Yeah, we saw his drive towards the end about trying to like being maybe small-minded from Yeiji's point of view. From his point of view, what we're in for the money, and there's nothing else really, right? Everything else just so 1 point there. And I struggled with issues from my trauma because I didn't have a chance to indulge my trauma, and that caused me 1 stress, and we saw that in the hospital. That fills up my probably my playbook advancement or my insight, and I'll decide till next time where these points go.
Sounds good. And Mike?
So I think I did not roll a desperate action. I think in like driving the car over the cliff and hitting 2 guys and jumping out just in time, that was precision though. So I'll take a point there. Other than that, I think that was the only place. And then express.
Do you think that you were being precise when you told everybody about how you fucked them over? Just kidding.
Precisely not precise, imprecise.
But you could maybe make an argument though that it was calculated, right? That you knew what you were doing and you were gambling on that reveal. So although I just used a bunch of words that weren't precise, so maybe I'm arguing against myself here.
Well, one of them is calculating though, you said, right?
Oh, is it?
I mean, maybe in the conversation with Gabraish.
100%.
Where she's like very like leaning into Gabraish's like idealism to try and like, I mean, not mechanically, but to try and reduce the heat within the group off of herself by kind of like revealing this plot. So I don't know if we would.
It's up to you.
That felt like pretty calculated.
I would give it to you.
There you go. Darren gives it to you.
All right.
Nice. For it, so.
I owe you some vials of bonus.
The ones you didn't steal, that's right.
Bonus screen.
I can say that since we'll never come across that again. Although now I see Fraser going. And then the final one was Well, yeah, I don't think I struggled with issues from vice root trauma, but I think like beliefs, drives, heritage, background was all like fairly strong in there. Both in kind of like, yeah, I was trying to allude to like she has seen like acts of God like wipe things out, as well as like tying that into the future. And then, yeah, I think in the sort of like heated or cold conversation at the end, like she was also trying to like, yeah, express like that. So I think I'll take 2 there. So 4 total.
Cool. And Yoshi.
Yeah, so address a challenge with violence or coercion. Definitely violence for blowing up a vehicle. And yeah, so I'll take 1 for that. Because I don't think I really did much with coercion other than the beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Definitely with the going and I think indulging my vice kind of hits into my heritage. So I'll take 1 for that. But I do not have a trauma because I cleared my entire stress track, which is good, but it also means I am that much further away from actually getting a trauma.
Yeah, it's funny because like every single session of Blade that I've ever played, I've traumaed out on the first session. I like make it a goal where I'm just like trauma on the first session.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you guys are like, oh, so close.
Yeah, well, like part of it is when I have enough stress like boxes that I'm not quite filling it out in the engagement. And so like I'll be at 7 or 8 stress of 9. I'm like, I can't go into the next engagement with 7 or 8 stress because then like I do nothing and then I'm gone. Like I'm out of the engagement.
Right.
So like I always like indulge vice somewhat, and like this time I just went from 8 stress to 0. So
right. And Matthias, do you want to do the crew?
Yep. Yeah, I unmuted myself. Okay. Wasn't sure there. Yep. So execute a successful accident, disappearance, murder, or ransom operation. Yes.
Seems like an accident, maybe.
Disappearance and
Something
murder.
like that. Yeah.
No ransom though.
Yeah, the first 3.
Content with challenges above your current station.
Yep.
Yep.
They were tier 2. So
bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. Professional, deadly is what we have as reputations.
I think you were pretty deadly.
Yeah.
Was it professional? It seemed
Yeah.
the concept was professional. It ended up being like a little bit bungled by the rules, but I think like it was a fairly smart professional plan when you think of it, especially in terms of like movie plans and stuff, right?
Yeah, so we think 2 here.
What do people think?
1.5.
Don't be difficult.
Wait a second, I need to hack the crew sheet.
I think, I mean, if we can roll the downtime and like this lead up to the next one where we were really trying to negotiate and like generally I think we all had fair points. It seemed pretty professional altogether, all around.
Oh yeah. That's true. Yeah, with the negotiation with Jasmine.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess kind of also gaining a patron. Like the background behind that would have probably looked very good and business-like.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, 2.
Okay. Express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. I mean, yes to inner conflict. I
would say goals and drives in that community garden scene as well, though.
And I think, I mean, the conflict seems too that we each, there's like at least 2, if not just 4 separate goals for the group. So I think it ties into that too, because I think our conflict is born out of like trying to figure out what we want to do, really.
And you said
as an audience, we see the conflict, even if the people involved don't entirely see it yet.
Yeah. And also y'all started doing more stuff with each other as well, which I think is kind of like an expression of that. That's the first time that people started doing that. Gabraish with Yeji doing the stuff, and Cross with the Steve doing stuff. I liked all those kind of scenes. So
2. Then we're 1 short, but that's how it goes.
Ain't it the way? Cool. All right. I'll stop the broadcast.